everybody, welcome back, and today, I'm angry. Today, we're going to talk about Regulation G, but not in the normal way that everybody's talking about Regulation G. No, this format has only been playable for about 2 weeks, a little bit less than 2 weeks actually, like 12 days basically, and it's not even like officially like a format you can play like in game yet. It won't be for another, like 2 weeks. But somehow, I'm already starting to have a problem with Regulation G. I've played a good amount of Regulation G games, not as much as some people, but already I'm starting to see things that I don't like, things that make me irrationally angry. Maybe I'll get over them, before the format actually rolls around. Maybe we'll all burn ourselves out before May, and we'll all be really sad for a few months, which seems to happen with every single format, which is, a whole other anger rant for itself, maybe. But no. So today, we're going to talk about some things in Regulation G that just make me irrationally angry. First up is Clear Amulet, okay? Clear Amulet was introduced this generation, right here, this generation, the one that we're in right now. And so far, it's kind of been like a non-entity, right? There hasn't been too much going on with Clear Amulet. You see it here and there. It's not too crazy. Clear Amulet is now more relevant than it has ever been. In fact, it's probably on about half of the teams that you face if you play on the ladder. And that's because half of the restricted Pokemon, maybe not half, it's 3 out of, how many are there? There's a lot more than 6. It's probably like a third of the restricteds, but it's half of the good ones. You want to use Clear Amulet so they can be immune to Incinerar. You've got Koraidon, you've got Groudon, you've got Calyrex Ice Rider, you've got like Necrozma Duskmane, you can count him too. And basically, it makes Incinerar not as good, but Incinerar is still really good, alright? Incinerar is still on like every team, and we'll get to Incinerar, alright? We'll get there, okay? But basically, it's really annoying because it is very hard to stop these Pokemon from doing what they want to do unless you can just straight up knock them out. It almost makes knockoff mandatory on Incinerar or on somebody on your team because you need to get rid of that Clear Amulet or you're not going to be able to stop them from doing anything. So, on top of that, okay, if this was just like, oh, this stops Incinerar, that'd be fine. I'd be okay with that. That would be beautiful. Incinerar deserves to be nerfed. Alright, in fact, I'm convinced the only reason that Incinerar got knockoff back was because Clear Amulet exists. But that's fine, stopping your attack stat from getting dropped, that's valid, okay? No, the reason that Clear Amulet's been bugging me so much is because so much of the speed control in this format, yes, obviously there's still Tailwind, right? But so much of the speed control that I've been trying to use, and I feel like I see a lot, is based on moves like Electro Web, like Icy Wind. They don't work with Clear Amulet. Clear Amulet stops those moves, and that bugs me so much, because that's not what the intended purpose of the item is on those teams. But it sure does it still, right? Like, I'm sitting here, with I was trying to play like Sandy Shocks, okay? And this team will probably never see the light of day because it didn't do well because of Clear Amulet. And I'm trying to like do speed control with Electro Web, and I click Electro Web, and guess what? Koraidon had Clear Amulet, and it doesn't matter. Obviously, Groudon's immune to Electro Web, but if they, terrasilize something other than Groudon, well, guess what? They're immune to Electro Web, too. And you try to make a Miraidon team with Iron Bundle, and you want to click Icy Wind for speed control, and you can't. You can't. Why? Because every Groudon and Koraidon and Necrozma Duskmane has a Clear Amulet. And I don't want to have to run Tailwind on every team for speed control, man. Sometimes that's just not, it doesn't work. Sometimes a team doesn't lend itself to that. But here we are. Running Clear Amulet. Having to run Tailwind on probably every team. And that frustrates me so much. And, maybe you don't agree. Maybe you think that's silly. I don't know. That's neither here nor there. Alright, the next thing that really bothers me. Rillaboom. Rillaboom is too good right now. Okay. Rillaboom, this is going to sound stupid. It's going to sound very similar to the Clear Amulet rant. Rillaboom counters like half of the restricted Pokemon by itself. It's just a monkey. Why does it counter half the restricted Pokemon? It beats Groudon, it beats Kyogre, it beats Miraidon, and obviously, that's not literally half of the restricted Pokemon. but it feels like half of the ones that you're gonna see most often. And if you really want to, you can make your Riloom real bulky. Riloom gets knockoff. It can hit, you know, Calyrex Shadow Rider and Lunala where it counts. It gets Snarl, I'm pretty sure. You could run Snarl Rillaboom. That would be kind of nuts, and I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes a thing at some point in this format. Just lead your Rillaboom and your Incineroar and click Snarl twice. That would be crazy. But the reason that it's so good is because of Grassy Terrain. Grassy Terrain with Rillaboom is so free, and it counters Miraidon because they don't get to have their electric terrain that they really want. It counters Kyogre because if you run really offensive Rillaboom, there's nothing they can do about it. You're just going to knock them out. It counters Groudon for kind of the same reason. I mean, obviously you're not going to get a KO, but you resist Groudon's attacks that it wants to go for. You're going to make it want to click Heat Crash, and if you're running a team that gets rid of Sun, well then, who cares about Heat Crash? You know what I mean? It feels, again, almost mandatory to run Rillaboom on your team if you're not running like a Miraidon team that wants a different terrain. And I don't like that. I don't like, and not to mention, you know, Rillaboom counters Calyrex Shadow Rider for other reasons, because all of them want to run Indeedee, because they want to run Expanding Force, which is valid. There you go. You got your Rillaboom. Bam. You can't click Expanding Force. I mean, you can click it, but it's not going to be as good. Why? Am I just going to go through the whole format and there's just a Rillaboom on every team and I just got to accept that? I mean, yeah, probably. Restricted formats do tend to get really centralized, not necessarily with the restricted Pokemon, but with the support Pokemon, because the damaging Pokemon are of such a high caliber that, like, the supporting Pokemon need to be the best supporting Pokemon to do anything, and Rillaboom just fits that bill. And now, you know, this is the best time to talk about Incineroar, okay? Incineroar is also better than it has ever been in Scarlet and Violet. Obviously, Incineroar is the GOAT, the best VGC Pokemon of all time, but as soon as you throw Restricteds in the mix, for whatever reason, he just starts acting up. I don't know. Like, Incineroar is still insanely good. Obviously, it pairs really good with aforementioned Rillaboom. But it helps you beat Calyrex Shadow. It's really good into all the physical mons if they don't run Clear Amulet or you just knock it off or whatever. It gets Will-O-Wisp. I mean, maybe we're just, you know, gonna start seeing Will-O-Wisp and Incineroar, because if I can't intimidate them, I might as well just burn them. You know what I mean? It's just insanely good. And if you have a team that just loses to Incineroar and Rillaboom, well, then that's it. You don't have a team. You don't have anything. That's the format that we're going into. And honestly, like, formats like that are really frustrating for me sometimes, because some of the funnest, like, silliest strategies get taken down so easily by Incineroar, Rillaboom, like by this balance kind of team. And that's such a, it's such a like a core thing for Pokemon. Like, balance teams beat gimmick teams. You know, it's one of those things. Like, obviously they don't necessarily do it all the time, but if you have a team, like a weird gimmick team that just can't beat Rillaboom and Incineroar, well then, like I said, you don't have a team. You're never going to win, because every team has Rillaboom and Incineroar, and that's frustrating for me personally, because I make a lot of really stupid, silly teams. The next thing I want to talk about is knockouts. Listen, okay, let me explain what I'm talking about, okay? I have made several teams of restricted Pokemon, and it feels like, to me, when you build your team around your restricted Pokemon, either your restricted Pokemon KOs everything and it's like super easy, or you don't KO anything. And I made that Sandy Sharks Groudon team, and my only problem was that Terra Ground Precipice Blades still didn't KO anything. Doesn't KO Calyrex Shadow. Certainly doesn't KO things that resist it. Doesn't KO a Koraidon. Doesn't KO, you know, like a Rillaboom. Sometimes it doesn't even KO Incineroar, which is ridiculous. Why is Incineroar so bulky? But, you know, I tried to test Blizzard Spam with Kyurem White. Ran into the same problem. Terra Ice Blizzard still doesn't KO anything. And Kyurem doesn't have Articuno's ability going for it. Like, they're not just going to miss you every once in a while. You got to take all those hits. And it's a problem if you're not KOing anything. You would think, you know, Blizzard Spam would be great. So many restricted Pokemon are weak or at least neutral to ice. I mean, really the only ones that, like, resist it are what? Like Kyogre, Necrozma Dustman, and Solgaleo? That's not that many. maybe, you know, maybe I'm running the wrong team. Maybe I gotta run like Power Spot, or I gotta run like something different. But I might be wrong, but Turbo Blaze might ignore Power Spot. It might ignore Chi Yu's ability. I don't know if you can do that. Maybe you just have to run Helping Hand on the Ninetales. I don't know. I didn't get that far. But when I start a team and my whole goal is to click a really big spread move and it doesn't KO anything, that's a problem. You don't have a team. And like, this probably just sounds like I'm explaining, like I'm complaining about nothing, but trust me, for me it's going to be frustrating because a lot of really stupid, silly teams boil down to, I'm going to click the big spread move and take KOs, and, you know, that's the world we're living in. All right, the next thing that we're going to talk about is Chien Pao teams, okay? Extreme Speed is back. Extreme Speed is back in a big way. Obviously, it didn't really, like, ever leave, but it's back in the sense that it's good again. And that's because Farigiraf, people are not running it as much right now. Like, you do see it every once in a while. People aren't running it as much as they have been. People aren't running... The only team that wants to run Indeedee is Calyrex Shadow Rider, who's immune to Extreme Speed anyway. So, Dragonite teams, Rayquaza teams, they are adapting. They're gonna adapt to this meta very, very quickly, or the meta's gonna adapt to them, and I don't know which way it's gonna go yet, and I'm a little scared. Okay, basically, what I'm seeing with a lot of these E-Speed Chien Pao teams is they are not running Choice Band anymore. Okay, what they're doing is they're running like Dragon Dance or Swords Dance, and that's scary. Why are they doing that? Because nobody's running Farigiraf, and they have to take a turn to do awkward positioning around this dumb strategy, or like protect for a turn so they can like figure out what you're gonna do, and you just punish them. You get punished hard. All right, that Rayquaza after a Swords Dance is gonna KO whatever it feels like. All right, and then it Terra Normals, and then you know you can't even hit it for weakness anymore because like why would you ever take the risk and just click Close Combat into a Rayquaza? I mean, you could do it. I've seen it done. I've done it. It's scary, but you know, whether it's Rayquaza or whether it's Dragonite, like they're both immune to Intimidate because Rayquaza is another one of those Pokemon that wants to run Clear Amulet. I didn't talk about him earlier. He runs Clear Amulet too. And if you're relying on a weather, like you're a Sun team, well, you don't get your photosynthesis boost on any of your Pokemon because Rayquaza says no. And it's scary. Like honestly, I think Rayquaza is probably better than it's been in a long time. And it's mostly because of Chien Pao. And like you just put it's so offensive that like your opponent has to take a turn to like maybe reposition. They're done. That's it. You said they like lead two bonds that don't want to take an E-Speed and they switch. Cool. Swords Dance. You lose now. Sorry. And it's a little frustrating because I don't want to run Farigiraf on every team. I don't want to have to run Indeedee Female. I already have to run Rillaboom. I can't run Indeedee Female. I don't want to run Farigiraf. I mean, obviously, like, it's still a good Pokemon, but, like, it doesn't fit on every team. I don't want to have to use... I'm already running... I already have to run Rillaboom and Incinerar. I gotta run Farigiraf too. That's half my team. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what am I supposed to do? Very quick. People have been playing this format so much. Very quickly, we are getting to a point where the teams are getting centralized already. All right, because everybody was so excited for Regulation G that we didn't take the time to stop and like have fun for a second. We're going straight to optimization, baby. Skip fun, skip, you know, Revival Blessing or whatever. We're going straight to optimization. We're putting Rillaboom, Incin, Farigiraf on every team, plus one restricted, plus whatever two mons go with that restricted. That's it. That's the format. That's what we're playing now. And we got there so fast. The format doesn't exist yet. It's been 12 days. Like, why? Why? Goodness gracious. I wanted time. Okay? This is something that we get in a lot of these formats. We get time. We get time to sit and have fun with the format and do some funky stuff. And Regulation G just zoomed right past that. Okay? We are already past that point. We are gone. Okay? Like, gone. And that sucks for me. Or maybe it sucks for you. Maybe it sucks for other people. It sucks for me. That's what makes me angry. And this is like a broader point of like this whole rant. But there you go. That's where we are. Next, Flutterman. All right, Flutterman is still great. Flutterman is maybe even better than it's always been because now it has reliable offensive sun Pokemon. And Icy Wind Flutterman, I don't know if you forgot, but Flutterman gets Icy Wind. And, you know, it does Iron Bundle's job better than Iron Bundle does. And, you know, we hate Flutterman. That Icy Wind's a problem. All right? The Sun team, you know, or Calyrex Shadow Rider team or Sun team, whatever, Flutterchi. Just chuck them on there. They're so good in Sun. They're so good with Calyrex Shadow Rider. Just chuck them on there. You know, you just don't worry about it. Just throw them on there. You know what I mean? So now your Groudon team is just Groudon, Flutterchi, Rillaboom, Incinerar, Farigiraf. That's your team. Don't worry about it. You got your 6 already. That's probably a great team. Don't worry about like running Gouging Fire or any of the other cool photosynthesis mons that you wanted to use but you couldn't use because you didn't have a good Sun Pokemon. Don't worry about like Scovillain. Nah, we don't need Scovillain. We don't need anything else. No, just run Chiyu and Flutterman. You'll be fine. That's all you really need. And that's the world that we're living in. And you know, it is what it is. But what it is not great for me. I don't know about you. Maybe you could tell me down in the comments. Maybe you can, you know, have that argument in the comments. We can have a nice discussion about it. But for me, that's frustrating because my whole deal is making stupid, silly teams. As we have, you know, already established. And yeah, there's a million other things that, you know, bug me just a little bit. Like stuff like a Terrapagos, Eternatus. Like, if you don't have a counter for them, you're just kind of screwed. You gotta run, like, Sacred Sword and or Haze on your team to get around these Pokemon. And that's frustrating. But on the flip side, if you want to play them and your opponent has Sacred Sword, you just kind of lose. And a lot of teams have Sacred Sword because the distribution of Sacred Sword is gigantic. And that's maybe a discussion for another day. But these are the things that frustrate me the most about Regulation G. What frustrates you the most about Regulation G so far? Let me know down in the comments. We can have, like I said, we can have a nice little chit chat about it down there. And, you know, as always, guys, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoy me flying off the handle about silly Pokemon, go down there, leave a like, leave a comment. Like I said, we'll have a chit chat and subscribe because I make Angry Rant videos probably more often than is okay for my health. But with that, everybody, my name's Andrew. I'll catch you guys next time. Once upon a time, man, I heard that I was struggling. Came from a gen where power creep wasn't coming in. Face long, stats tight, defense up, shack height. Sturdy on me, sash like, got that TM last night. Hit me with that good move, make the smile and act right. Bast boys, bout to hit that builder. I know that's right. Big Bast busting out these body presses, bout to buy a body bag and